Nach Drinks Coach. Welcome to Drinks Coach. Yes, it's me, Wadsack. I think we're episode 31. I got it wrong last time. We don't have the thing saying where we are, but look up at ampersand Vinesack if you want to contact me through any of the social media accounts. That includes Twitter and Insta. I'm still not doing TikTok. Sorry, I'm old. I need to work out what's important and what's not, but fanning about doing his short videos, I'm not sure it's really my cup of tea. Oh, maybe it is. So today, this is the purpose for this particular episode is just to keep the pot boiling, really, for my friends out there who like to listen to me jabber on and like a bit of content here and there. This is going to be a relatively short one. Julian, I heard your tip. 40 minutes is too long. The last one was 33 minutes, and that was really pushing it. A lot of wine and a lot of stuff to take in. So I'm going to try and keep it below 30 minutes from now on, which even if it means there's fewer bottles of wine in each time. But, you know, give it to you in mouthfuls, not just like tip it down your throat. So we've got 3 wines here that were sent to me by Phipps PR in London, one of the best wine PRs in the country. And they represent and look after, have done for a considerable amount of time, Wines of Germany, the international generic body who promote the wines of Germany, who they deserve to have an easier job than they do, but I think they're having a good job. I think people are finally getting the message in this country, and they got the message long ago in places like Australia and America that Germany is producing some of the very finest wine in the world at any price, and at any given price they offer incredible value. Precision winemaking, vibrant, vital wines, wines that can age, wines that go with food. I mean, you name it. I think Germany, the future is bright. And I imagine I'd like to do more German wine on this channel going forward. They sent me 3 bottles. They're all available in retail right now. We have a wine which is a dry Riesling, or dryish Riesling, called Sturmwolken, which I think is available in Sainsbury's at the meagre price of £7 at the moment. Retail £8, it's £1 off at the moment. £7. I think I did a video. If you go online, if you go onto YouTube and just put in Joe Wadsack Wines of Germany, and the video will come up, which is 10 years old, of me going, I tasted a wine today from Germany, which was $6.99. And it was amazing value for money. It just shows you what great quality Germany is at every price. And we're 10 years on, and you can still buy wine from Germany at $6.99, which I'm rather hoping, knowing that some of my friends are off-piste, that it's going to be pretty solid. Moving on, we've also got a fizz, continuing the fact that maybe the only growth sector in the alcohol industry is premium sparkling wine. And they're still amazing value, generally. You know, I've been banging on about how expensive Burgundy is, but we did a Crème de Bourgogne recently. I don't remember that. The fizzy Bourgogne from Simone Fevre, and it's cheaper to buy champagne quality Crème de Bourgogne than it is to buy generic Chablis now, which is a little bit nuts. And at the end here, we've got a real funny little flipper. Nearly swore then. 2022, nice and fresh. 2018, plenty of time to develop some interesting characters. And the iconic 2021 vintage, profound, rich, big, great for reds and whites. And this wine's a Pinot Gris, Grauburgunder, or Pinot Grigio, all the same wine, for those people that didn't know. There's also a name for it, which they tried to come up with for dry German Pinot Gris called Rühlander, which never really worked. Still sounded like a guard dog. So this is an orange wine, i.e. it's been fermented on its skin, so the wine has a deep colour. And I'll explain a bit more about that when we get to it. So where do we start? I thought we start at the beginning, maybe. Yeah, this is not a halo. Look at that. Oh, quite like that. No, John Michael Wright, great court painter, Charles II. No, I'm not telling you the address of my father-in-law's house, because that's probably quite valuable. I don't know. It's got some lovely Delft and blue and white, and yeah, I'm trying to look blinger than I really am. Also, she speaks fluent German, so it seems highly appropriate that we should do John and wine today at this particular juncture. And also, Riesling goes with fish and chips, and it's Friday night, so we're going for chippy later. Do I look pleased? Yes, I do. Okay, let's have a look at what I found out about these wines. I just pulled up what's available online for these wines because they're all currently available. First one, Sturmwolken, at, as I mentioned, £7, down from £8 at the moment in Sainsbury. So it should be widely available. We've got Louis Guntrum, which is sold in I don't know if it's sold in Waitrose or Waitrose online. I'm pretty sure it's sold in store. And it's a 2018 100% Riesling Sekt, extra dry Sekt. Sekt meaning dry. So when you say extra dry Sekt, that's like, this is extra dry, right? And it is dry. From a very warm, luscious vintage, 2018, made some really big, extracted, cosy wines. So I'm looking forward to trying that. 17 quid, I believe, at Waitrose. And at the end here, we have a wine which is very fancy. It's the orange wine, and it's called Kalkmergel, made by Friedrich Becker. And he's quite the winemaker. He's from the Rheinpfalz, down in the warmer areas and the sort of redder soils of Germany, and where I think Pinot Gris and Grauburgunder, as the Germans call it, really excels. You can buy this for $23.99 if you go into Majestic, or you can not be an idiot and buy 6 bottles at a time, and then it whops down to a meagre £16. What's that? It's £8 off. Is it £8 off? Yes, £8 off if you buy a box of 6. Don't be a tard and buy the wine on offer. I mean, that's a huge saving, 33% off. And I did a show last week, or the week before, about saving wine prices at Majestic, and there was a Riesling from Argentina, I think, for some of those people to remember, which was also had a big chunk of change taken off it. It's worth fishing around in your Majestic at the moment, and with the new, fresh, sparkling buying team, I think they're doing a pretty decent job. Well done, Beth and Jane and everybody. Okay, Matt, is that Matt? So let's start with this. Sturmwolken. These wines haven't actually been in the fridge, they've just been in the boot of my car. Quite like the label. Looks like Kaiser Chiefs, German space flying saucers shooting bolts, but they're actually clouds. That's proper lightning. A chap called Reinhardt, who's into folklore of wine in Germany, was believed to have been struck by lightning whilst tending his vines. Woke up to discover the vines had an unusual glow to them, and there was birds sitting on the vines. I imagine this is probably because he had his cataracts burnt or something, but they didn't have the same knowledge as they do now about science. And he woke up to all these birds protecting the vines, and he thought, maybe this is what I should do. This is my Damascene moment, and it was the moment, his road to Damascus moment. Sorry, I'm sounding a bit intellectual today because I'm in Cambridge, he decided that he should devote his life to making really wonderful wines and protecting the grapes in the vineyards. And there's a Schloss Reinhardtshausen, there's a Reinhardtsberg, there's a Reinhardt, there's the Hart Mountains, and I'm sure they're all connected. This is a wine made and a brand created by a business called Off-Piste Wines, based out in the West Country, more or less, from Malmesbury way, sort of Swindon way. And they've been making some great brands that you probably seen all over the place. Maybe you've seen Most Wanted, which is a very successful brand. Some Down Under wines. They put cans of Pinot Grigio and Pinot Blanc Fizz into a can called Pinot, which has been very popular, and I still think it's a cracking little product. But this is pennies. This is cheaper than the price of a pint of Guinness in some bars in London now. That's £7. Sturmwolken, which I think it means lightning bolt, actually. I've got beautiful. Oh, this must have been the glass that I gave to my parents-in-law as a gift. It's a Zalto Riesling glass, which just improves the experience every way possible. What are we looking for? Well, it's Riesling, okay, and it's German Riesling, but it's a German Riesling made to be drunk as an alternative to Sauvignon Blanc or any other crisp, refreshing wine. In the basest sense, when they're young, those wines share a lot of the same appeal. Aromatics, fresh zing, linearity. They penetrate fatty food, so they go really well with things like coleslaw and things that are sweet and sour. Well, I'm not going to complain at that price. That's a perfectly good wine at a laughable £7. £8? Yeah, it's an £8 wine. I'm just going to look up what Sainsbury's has put on their website. It's interesting. There's a few weird comments here. Little line here saying Mobius Loop, which I think is the Mobius strip is the recycling logo. Anyway, it's made by Peter Mertis, which are based in Bernkastel Kues, which is the heartland of Bethlehem of Mosel, right in the sort of like the cooler northwest area of German wine production. Although I imagine that most of these grapes sort of come from the Palatinate, from the Rheinhessen and from the Pfalz. But there is a zing to it, so there's certainly Moser wine there too, I think. Yeah, it's proper wine. You can smell an almost green grass component. Like raw rhubarb has a smell. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but when you cut rhubarb up, it has this almost smell like stems of flowers in a greengrocer before you put it into your big bowl and cover it in crumble and honey and sugar and bake it. Yes, I'm very happy with that. Outstanding wine. Okay, so that's wine one. I can hear my family coming back from a trip to Anglesey Abbey. Let's move on to this. This is a wine which I know I've been really looking forward to trying because I'm a big fan of Sekt. This wine, if we just move it on to the other page, Guntrum Riesling Brut. Oh, it's $22.99 normally. That's probably why when at the press tasting, I probably didn't really kind of trigger to it because 23 quid is champagne money, right? But now it's a fiver off at $17.99, so it's definitely worth having a look at. That's quite the difference in price. I'm going to use the same glass actually. Nice and thin for fizz. It's becoming increasingly less fashionable to use champagne flutes, the thin, lovely crystal flutes. It's a shame because they do look very nice. But something kind of between a wine glass and the flute is this, and it's kind of like gives it some room to breathe in the glass and some girth, but it still provides a kind of a champagne experience. This is the ideal glass for this sort of thing. Beautiful colour. I don't know if you can see that sort of burnished russet brown, like the colour of a russet apple. The bubbles are very small and fine, which is a good sign. Probably spent a lot of time on its lees. I mean, the dead yeasts in the bottle when it's fermenting make the surface tension of the wine less. So if the bubbles are formed in very much smaller bubbles. You don't have big, thick, lemonade-y bubbles. We have this mousse, which is what really kind of made champagne popular when it first started. It's 12% alcohol, which is the same sort of alcohol level for any premium fizz, I would say. Going back to that vintage. 2018, this is a wine in the middle of Germany. Germany's really hot. We don't, as a rule, citizens of the United Kingdom don't, as a rule, go on holiday in Germany, but I believe it's increasing very quickly. And we're foolish not to. Summer in Munich, I mean, God, it's like you could be anywhere. And temperatures reach high 30s on if you're unlucky. But extraordinary weather, and they even have beaches along the rivers. There's even a tidal anomaly which allows you to actually surf in the middle of Munich on this incredible kind of standing wave that appears. The whole thing's wonderful. The food's fantastic. The beer's obviously fantastic. Good holiday resort, and you've got mountains in the background. You're not very far from anywhere else. You're only a couple of hour train ride to the sea if you want it. So there's my little promo for Munich. Okay, so Guntrum Brut 2018. I feel like I want to say more about it, but I'm not sure what to say. It's from a vine kellerite that's been making wine for a very long time. Guntrum was founded in 1648. Go figure. It's the same age as that painting, which is extraordinary. Old. So here I am being surrounded by both delicious wine and culture and history. Yeah, the ripeness counteracts the piercing acidity of the Riesling. So the acidity doesn't taste sharp or sour, although ironically in German, if you want to buy a bottle of dry white wine, it's Sauerweiss. Sour. They realise that wine that tastes dry isn't actually dry but high in acid. They're just cleverer than we are, mostly. I'm half German, just reminding everyone of that fact. It has this wonderful brioche kind of fluffy, almost like apple crumble flavours. I don't know if thinking about rhubarb put that in my mindset, but it tastes of baked apples with crumble and honey. Very, very cosy fizz, despite the fact it's coming from such a cool area. Broader and richer, certainly, than any English fizz that I can think of. And a little less aggressive in youth, but also a bit fatter than most champagne as well. But what I like about it, it is dry. It won't tell me how dry. I'm looking through the technical specs online. Not enough information. Forgive me. Well, that's enough information for most people. But I do think that this wine is satisfying, and yeah, I don't know what I would have with it. It would be really nice with some little gratins, maybe some scallops with a bit of cheese on under the grill or something like that. Yeah, mini scallops, something like that. Yeah, got a great start to an evening. Do you want the last one? How are we doing for time? Yeah, it's only 15 minutes. You see, this is probably will work out a lot better for you guys. I'm sorry if I've been ranting incessantly for the last 5 years. I'll cut the rants in half, make them a bit more digestible. Nice packaging, very Deutsch actually. It's got a picture of a vine on the front and a fox looking up at the vine. Weingut Friedrich Becker, Kalkmergel Grauburgunder. Kalk means chalk, so I'm guessing that's the name of the soil or something. It says it's grown on limestone and chalk mix. Harvested by hand, fermented aged in finest oak barrels. Now, this is where German Grauburgunder or Pinot Gris can suddenly transmogrify, if you've got the right claims, into something akin to white Burgundy. Old school, if you go to some of the finest vineyards in Burgundy, some of the most expensive vineyards, like Bonneau de Martre, that's a white wine that's in several £100s now. If you go to the Corton Charlemagne vineyard of Bonneau de Martre and you pick clippings, you'll find that it's not all Chardonnay, but there's some Pinot Blanc in there, there's some Pinot Gris. There are great varieties that are all allowed and accepted within a tolerance under the umbrella cultivar name of Chardonnay. So don't be surprised sometimes if you see a Pinot Gris aged in wood and go, oh, that's interesting. And it turns out to taste quite Burgundian, because it will. The only other difference about this is that the grapes were in the ferment for 3 whole days here. I'm just curious to know what colour it's going to turn out. Well, it's pink. It's definitely got some colour. And Pinot Gris, as the name would suggest, is in fact a red grape variety. It's got very pale pink skins, which is the reason why we have Pinot Grigio Rosé now, because if you let them steep long enough, you do get some colour. So this is kind of a rose gold, I would say. It's like a cross between a very pale rosé in the kind of Provence sense and a barrel fermented Chardonnay, I would say. Oh, I say. Well, I did not expect that at all. This wine has gone through, I can imagine, a process during the fermentation. Every couple of weeks after fermentation, when the muck starts to settle, a stick is put into the barrel and stirred. It's called bâtonnage, literally stick, edge, baton. You know? And bâtonnage gives the wine an amazing breadth, richness in the mouth, it's a beguiling, sinewy, but really rich, creamy texture, but also gives this wonderful, toasty, what I call autolytic note, where you're getting the extract of the yeast into the wine and it's giving an extra flavour level, which is like Vitti's digestive biscuits. Now, what can be wrong with that? Can you imagine having this with like a lovely crumbly cheddar, like a Cornish cruncher, on a McVitie's perfectly cooked, slightly overcooked even, digestive, like a kind of nutty crunchiness, with a wine that smells and tastes the same. That's what I'm thinking right now. Cheese and biscuit. Well, that's extraordinary. Very good. Qualitatively, thinking this wine was originally, what did we say it was at Majestic originally? It's £23.99 full price. Although you can buy it for £16 right now. I would say it's worth the £24, so bargain at £16. I've noticed only 3 people have bought it online, and 100% of the 3 people that bought it said they'd buy it again. So don't be a fool. This is a really interesting wine and very sexy. And if you're in one of those groups that likes to do wine tastings with friends and you're trying to guess what the wine is, they've got no chance with this. I mean, I would be there for several hours, I think, before Pinot Grigio came to mind. What else does it remind me of? It's from Germany, but it has such ripeness. 21 was such a profound vintage, long, ripe summer season. This wine has beautiful acidity, like fine Burgundy, like Chablis, in fact. But the flavours are all California. If you've ever drunk Hildegard from Bon Climat, which is a very rare wine, made from all sorts of wines, including Pinot Gris, it's a steely mouthful of nutty, biscuity joy. There you go. Little short, cheeky one on German wine here in Cambridge. See you next time.